Hey everyone, Ryan here. Welcome back to Plague Scythe Studios. Finally, after a couple weeks of being away, being a boat bum, and just generally being away from this place, trying to restore some sanity during the summer months. So I thought I would return with a bit of some housekeeping. So the next, I don't know, half a dozen videos-ish are going to be nothing but reviews. This is going to be Review Madness July, or first impressions, or just generally checking out products that I've either had for weeks to months and I'm embarrassed to not have gotten around to it yet, or that I just kind of gotten recently, and I thought I would just go ahead and knock them all out in one go. That way we can return to some other stuff a bit more varied later. But reviews always tend to do fairly decently, and it's a lot of good products that I've been wanting to check out and get your guys' attention on. The first of these products we're going to be checking out is this super slick custom micro pedal board made for me by Joe of Anarchy Music Products. I think this is a little kind of a side project for him. Must be a machinist because of the quality of this thing. But basically, I first saw the design of this a few months ago on that $500 micro pedal board thing I did, and that included a lot of the pedals on this actually. Because of that, you're not going to be hearing this because it sounds the same. It's using most of the same sounds and that sort of thing. The one advantage to this is I'm able to fit a noise gate, also fit my baby bomb, so if I just want to use power amp emulation here, run to a real cabinet, I can do that, all that good stuff. So I do have a bit more room to play with. But I saw this design and I was really stoked about not only the execution of the product, but about the concept in general. A double-decker pedal board. Not super uncommon. They are around on full-size stuff, but I think it's really pertinent for micro pedals in particular, especially if you're going to be using a lot of them. Micro pedals to me have a couple cool applications. One is, backup, just throw them in your bag. It can fit anywhere. It's kind of just a spare. Two is like a travel thing that if you just want to hook up a few, like, say a preamp pedal, a little overdrive, and cab sim, then you kind of have a little rig on the go that you can, again, fit pretty much anywhere. But if you're going to be using them as primary effects, I think, that's not unreasonable. You could chain together a bunch of Moore stuff. They've even got a pedal looper, so you could set up scenes and that sort of thing, which is cool. And by the time you fit all that together, it will come out at a significantly less cost compared to full-size stuff. But the problem with this, if you're trying to, play the tap dance, is that they're just so small, it's kind of hard to maneuver. So I think the extra layer here really does help. It's very much a practical application, as well as you have some cable management space and spot to put a power brick if you have such a thing. So this current prototype is actually CNC'd out of MDF for right now. He is going to be working on an aluminum prototype, which I would love to get my hands on at some point, especially if it can be a similar weight and be even more sturdy. This thing is sturdy as hell as is though. And it works really well for, ergonomics. Obviously, I'm holding it by one hand. It doesn't weigh a whole lot. You could throw this as something like a mail bag or a backpack, and even with fully loaded, it's still, perfectly maneuverable. The point that I find to be most interesting, and it's probably going to be the most controversial in the comment section, are the standardized holes that are equally spaced on both the mounting surfaces. And aside from probably contributing to some significant weight reduction, which is always welcome, this is how you mount the pedals to the board. So it's a kind of a different take on the classic just boards, basically, with spacing, and you throw some Velcro on it and all that good stuff. Whereas this, you use zip ties. Admittedly, not the perfect system, but it is different, and I really like it for the convenience and for a bit more modularity, I feel like, or at least being able to quickly swap stuff in and out. Velcro's great in practice, or in theory, but in practice it never works the way I want it to. The shit comes off the back of the pedals, it stickies up all over the original label. Most of the time you're taking off the pedal from the Velcro that you're supposed to have glued on to begin with, even with name brand stuff, even if you like super glue it to the back. So that's why I use double-sided adhesive a lot of the time for permanent stuff. So this is a bit of a different take, and I quite like it. The unfortunate parts, number one, I didn't feel like going out and buying black zip ties. He just gave me some clear ones, so I use those. And considering this probably isn't going to be the final layout anyway, don't really care. But I would prefer like black or blue to make it blend in a bit more with the design, make it a bit more appealing. Not that it's going to matter terribly, because you're pretty much the only one that sees it. But number two, a lot of these, like this taller pedal here, the Tube Screamer, it's not the standard more chassis thickness, so you actually have to use 2 to get around it. And like this, I use 3 just because I didn't feel like doing all of them individually with these angle connectors here kind of messing things up. Not that you should use those permanently, but for this quick demonstration, I went ahead and used them there. But you know, it is different, and I think there's more things you could do with this whole pattern. I think that you could almost have like a elastic band type thing that, you know, kind of secures on both sides, that you could slide pedals in and out and still be fairly secure. There's probably a million different engineering solutions out there that I'm not thinking of right now that you could secure this and look fashionable, if that is a concern of yours. As of right now, my feedback to Joe would be this is one hell of a prototype. Definitely feel there's some room for improvements, or some things that I'm not particularly thinking about that could possibly either shave off cost or make it a smaller form factor, something of that sort. I think the deck height is perfect. I think this needs to stay exactly the same for being able to, you know, cram cords and power bricks, that sort of thing. And it feels nice to, you know, that angle kind of works really well. I do feel that this kind of chunk here could be moved in a little bit. At that point, you know, you might sacrifice some handle space or space here if you're planning to mount anything there. To me, I don't think it serves a huge function for, you know, my purposes at least. So I would rather have, even if it's a bit asymmetrical, just to save on weight and that sort of thing. If I were to do that personally though, I would probably move this to the center and kind of have 2 smaller handles on each side just to make it symmetrical, but that's just me. Or maybe you want a fuller upper level here, whatever. But that's just one of the things I have in mind. I feel the greatest potential lies in this product though with its mounting method. I've personally not used anything like this before. I'm sure this is the first time that someone has come up with something different than just the standard, you know, slatted board design, but I think this kicks ass for several reasons. I feel it's a perfect complement to the micro pedal format, just being able to pop them in and out, as I said before, but also because it gives you basically unlimited options in terms of vertical and horizontal spacing, as long as you're willing to either compromise not having one, you know, fully stacked, or you know, if you have patch cables that aren't compatible in terms of spacing, you can pretty much, you know, slide them up and down, have one staggered out, one staggered in, or kind of angle them however you want to, and I think that is super cool. I think that either a rigid device or something semi-flexible but mostly rigid, kind of a mounting, I don't know, like a bracket of sorts that you could put over top of it and either have hands, you know, screws or wing nuts or something on the back, obviously being like padded or some sort of soft material that isn't going to damage the finish of your pedals, would be like the ideal permanent fixture. This is just me speaking as a beta tester, you know, just shotgunning ideas out here. But, you know, for a lot of people, zip ties isn't going to be a problem. For many of you out there that care about the appearance of your gear, and especially pedal boards being such a, almost as a personal thing as instruments are, then I can totally get if this kind of turns you off the whole idea of this product. But yeah, man, I was super excited to get my hands on this and build it, and glad I did, because I've had a lot of fun playing on it. One last food for thought, and I will hold my final judgment until I see the finished product, but if I were selling something like this that has such a great potential to be modular, I would sell everything separately. You know, maybe it's not a bad idea to have pre-packaged or at least pre-configured options on, you know, your website saying this is the medium or this is the small configuration, here's the large one, here's what we recommend. But if it were me, I would like to have the option of, say, buy one of these and buy one of these, or a longer version that I could put over top of it. And basically it'll say, okay, well, if you're going to buy the bottom plank and you're going to buy this shelf, then we recommend 2 of these, and it'll come with this many screws, and it already comes with this, and that kind of baseline stuff. That way you can kind of mix and match what you want. Obviously, I'm not asking for some like a Halo Guitars build, pre-rendered beautiful thing. Just kind of, you know, I don't know, an Excel lookup table that shows up on your website. Basically, it says, hey, if you're using this, we recommend this, but you can build and mix and match whatever you want. And then you'll say, I want to use this many pedals, and here's how many adapter thingamabobs that you'll need to connect them if you're not going to do zip ties or whatever. So that would be kind of my business model. I feel this is a, you know, not a mass producible thing. I mean, it could very well be, but it is kind of a very select audience. So I feel like having that customizability, and especially if you can like anodize the aluminum and customize it that way, then you'll be smooth sailing. So that'll be pretty cool. But yeah, look forward to seeing the finished product. I'm definitely going to be jamming on this thing. I'm going to take this everywhere. My other iteration of the pedal board was working great, but this really, I mean, it's significantly larger, but it's not significantly heavier, and it does add a lot more tonal flexibility. It just looks cool. It's a great talking piece, I feel like. So yeah, great job so far. Again, take my suggestions with a grain of salt, but that's you know, a couple of things that I thought of while playing on it. And we'll certainly get back to you when the finished product is out, one way or the other. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.